What a privilege! Dylan Bowman of I Run Far here with Meghan Hicks, the boss of I Run Far, who had a spectacular third place finish at the 2021 Hardrock 100. Meghan, how do you feel?
About as good as you feel. I feel great.
So it was 33 hours, your third finish. You said it was your hardest finish at the Hardrock. Why was that?
You expect in 100 miles that some of the miles are not going to feel good, but you also expect that a lot of the miles are, because you put in a lot of work to try to feel good on the day. But none of the miles came easy. There were like 20 happy miles out in Pole Creek, and that's about it. The rest of them were a challenge.
So, I mean, one of the things that I think is remarkable about you is that you can work so much and do like Western States 3 weeks ago and then step on the start line of.
Well, you did the same thing.
Well, I did too, but
Yeah.
you know, I think it was probably a little bit easier for me. I mean, I had to just basically sit put for one day. You guys are hustling around doing everything like that. How was your preparation leading into the race, and was that part of why it felt harder?
I had great training. I mean, I set up a training plan. I was actually not entirely planning to do hard rock because originally Brian was doing hard rock.
Right.
We both got chosen in the lottery, but as I run far, we both can't run the race.
Right.
So he was going to run and I was going to cover. But a couple months into training wasn't going so well for him, but I had already built out a training block for other adventures and we switched.
Yeah.
So I had good training like in the spring, and things kind of had a bit of a downturn. Like we had some challenges with our cabin in Moab, Utah, and then we had a week down at Western States, and then prepping for coverage here was a pretty good hard week. However, the I Run Far team was amazing. They gave me a day off before the race, so I had Thursday off.
One day off before the race?
Yeah, but I got to relax. I was laying on the couch the day before the race.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, life is a balance. Like I like to be a busy person. I like to have, my hands in lots of different stuff. Like it's just a balance. You do what you can with what you have.
Yeah. Well, you do balance it so well, not only, providing so much great information for our sport, but also bye Frosty.
Hi everybody.
Yeah, you do so much for the sport, but you're also, you compete also. And the women's race this year was incredible. I mean, it's, sort of like highlighted with yourself and Sabrina Stanley and Courtney DeWalter and others, and Darcy, of course, legend. So maybe, talk about like, how do you balance that sort of like, especially at Hard Rock where the competition thing isn't really as important as it is at a lot of other races. How do you think about that stuff going in?
I mean, at least for me personally, whenever I decide to race, I want to try to do the best I can with what I have in that moment. I don't always have everything, but it's hard to think of Hard Rock as a true competition because, like, you spend so many hours alone. Yeah. You don't actually see your competitors. Yeah. Like maybe you see a ponytail.
Right. Yeah.
Like the next pass away, or you're getting
a headlamp. Yeah.
Right. It's this very competition is this abstract thing here. So you're really just yourself with this environment and trying to make the best of every moment out there. So yeah, it's amazing to see these badass women moving so quick through these gnarly mountains and high terrain, and like going over 14,000 feet as fast as they are going. Like it's really inspiring, but yeah, it's kind of still abstract.
So any highlights? I mean, with a race that's so hard where no mile comes easy, was there anything out there that was particularly enjoyable?
So much. Yeah, like 13,000 feet. Anytime you hit 13,000 feet, it was like a wildflower garden. Yeah. I've never seen it as thick as it was. Yeah. Kroger's Canteen was insane. Yeah. Kroger's Canteen is always wonderful, but Joe Grant is the brand new aid station captain there. They did a marvelous job. All of the food at all of the aid stations was, epic. I didn't have the stomach for most of it, but the offerings were insane. My pacer and I saw a gigantic porcupine going up Camp Bird Road. Like it was like a bear. Wow. Porcupine. It was so big. Some eyes in the night, but I think they all turned out to be deer. it was a great adventure. I wouldn't change anything. You know, you always want to, you know, do better, find a better version of yourself, but I'd never change yesterday.
So with your third Hard Rock finish, how many of those are counterclockwise, and maybe do you have any perspective on, you know, what's different between the two directions?
Yeah, this is second counterclockwise. I've gone both directions at least once. I'm not sure that I'm the best person to ask about that. Like, it's just so many miles that it's like they all start to blend together. I do like technical descents, and this direction has more technical descents, but in the other direction, there's also plenty of technicality. I would say that it's really brutal to climb Grant Swamp Pass at like mile, what is that?
85 or
85
90?
or something. Like it's a long approach of pretty like power hiking terrain, but then you just reach this wall. And you know, like you can see the scar of, you know, humanity having gone up and down it, so you know that's where you're going, but you kind of look at it as you're approaching it thinking like, that's nice.
That was easily the hardest part of the race for me, was going up Grant Swamp Pass.
And you probably couldn't see the top either because you were in the dark.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere for us. You know, we're just like going along this sort of like talus, and then it was just like, oh no. But, you know, looking back at the race yesterday and having only read the I Run Far coverage of it, are there any takeaways about what happened sort of like around you in the women's podium or in the men's race? I mean, for me, it felt like it was a really fast day, good conditions compared to other years. Any insights or takeaways?
I think conditions, I mean, y'all are just beasts in the first place. Like, you ran out of your brains, but I do think the conditions were remarkable, the best I've seen. Like, 1, there was no snow. 2, there was like the heat never came to the lower altitudes, and like usually that combination of like middle altitude plus heat kind of cooks people in the afternoon. Like, we kind of had cool conditions, and then it had rained like an inch maybe 4 or 5 days before the race, so all the descents were tacky. So there was no like sliding on kitty litter, having to be careful. You could kind of just trust your shoes and go. So I think, it was good conditions, but everybody, I mean, the people who were at the front of the race, they ran out of their brains. You know, you guys are amazing.
You're amazing. So Hard Rock, it's a special frickin' race. What a cool event this is. Well, you guys live here in Silverton a lot of the time, and you're very connected to the Hard Rock family. Talk about that a little bit. Where does Hard Rock sit with you and Brian and your business, and how you guys feel about everything?
Yeah, it's kind of weird to sit here because, like, slowly but surely this place and this race have like creeped inside of like every part of us. You know, it's become part of our lives, part of our work, part of our personal passions. But now that you've been here, you can kind of see why. Like, the mountains are incredible, like doable, but still challenging, you know, just like right at the edge, right? Like, it's fun to have a challenge that goes right to the edge.
There he is.
But honestly, like, it's a beautiful race in a beautiful place, but this is also a race about the people. You know, it's just such a special group of people, and every year there's newcomers who join it, and, you know, people who sort of graduate and, you know, go to the volunteering side of things. But you know, at the awards ceremony, they honor the volunteers just as much as they honor the finishers. Like, it's all about being like a coveted family, and it's you know, we're just tiny cogs in a huge wheel, but it's just fun. It's fun to watch that.
I love how at the awards ceremony, Dale refers to Sabrina and Francois as the first male finisher and the first female finisher, not the winners, but the first finisher.
There's never a mention of race or winner. Yeah.
It's so special.
And everybody's honored the exact same way, right?
Well, Meghan, congratulations on a very strong podium performance here, your third Hard Rock. Hopefully we both get in the lottery next year and we can run it clockwise again.
I kind of like thought like, okay, maybe I'll run like what I think is close to my potential here, and it can be my last Hard Rock, and then I can cover and volunteer and be a community member. But when you don't quite reach your potential, you got to put in the lottery again.
Back in the lotto.
Yep.
Well, congratulations. Thanks for letting me chat with you a little bit. I'm going to hopefully go enjoy a nap this afternoon. How about you?
In the shade. Anything in the shade.
Thank you guys for watching. Meghan Hicks, everyone.
Debo.